Please remain seated.
Here we are with another episode of Laugh Your Way to the Top here. It's myself, Jim Davila, along with the owner of Perfect Steel Solutions, Austin Fain, part 2 this time. Let's see what kind of crazy madness we can get into this time.
Yeah, we decided to do a late night podcast. It's about 10 o'clock at night. Factory's all quiet. And instead of what we do our normally things, we would stand off in the corner and smoke our cigars and maybe have a drink or something like that. We decided to have podcast, seeing if we could come up with anything interesting for our viewers.
Yeah.
So what did you do this evening? I know we both kind of did the same thing.
Yeah. So it's kind of an employee engagement for me as my one of the employees had been with us since day one of the company. Today was his birthday today, and he asked me if he could get off work at 7 o'clock instead of 7:30 because he wanted to take his girlfriend out for dinner. I said, oh, where are you talking about going for dinner? He's like, well, I think like Coney Island or like a little burger shack to go eat somewhere. And I'm like, it's your birthday. Why would you do that for? He's like, well, she doesn't make a lot of money, and so she wants to treat me for the birthday. I'm like, well, why don't we go on a double date? We can go hang out there. So we went to Granite City, had some great dinner. We had a couple appetizers.
She was there too?
She was there, yep.
Your wife came too?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Nice little thing. We got 2 appetizers, shared the whole thing, and then they shared a spicy chicken sandwich. My wife and I shared meatloaf. It was a good little night. Nice quiet night, fun, joking around with a nice, beautiful employee of mine. Great guy. Great guy.
I did similar thing. Our sales manager, Ryan, who was on a previous podcast as well, we took 3 of our sales reps out to Ruth Chris, just to show some appreciation. 2 top guys and an up-and-coming. And we had a good night. They love when the company picks up the tab.
Oh, they love it.
They do. We had some laughs. I mean, we shared stories about certain events that happen, in the past, like things that happen with sales or like things that you run into. One of the things that came up that was super funny is that when I worked for Ryan at a previous company, he called me when I was on the way to a wedding. And let's just call it, northern Indiana. I don't know where I was going for this wedding. And he's like, hey, man, where are you? And I'm like, I'm going to this wedding. And he's like, cool, I need you to stop at this house. I'm like, all right. So, mind you, at the time I'm married, and my wife's in a dress, and I'm in a full suit. And I was like, is it a sales appointment? Is it a whatever? Like, what's going on? And he's like, no, it's a lady who called in the office. She's not sure what the company she wants to go with. They've already sold her, and they gave her 3 days right of rescission. A little backstory about 3-day right of rescission. In the state of Indiana, if you do in-home sales, you have to offer a 3-day right of rescission just in case they have buyer's remorse in the morning or something like that, or they get talked into doing something. They got 3 days to think about it and cancel the project. And so this lady signed up with another company who was a competitor of ours, and Ryan won this deal. So he sent his big dog out. So I go to this lady's house. I have nothing. I don't have samples. I don't have an iPad. I'm going to a wedding. And so I go in there and I'm trying to measure the house. So I do everything off my phone. I show up presentation. I do all this other stuff. And I reach for the folder that she has that she signed paperwork in. She slaps it out of my hand and she goes, you don't get to look at that till we're done negotiating. I was like, okay. I saddled in and we went back and forth for, a good hour. And she'd bring up points like this person says they have this kind of metal roofing, and these persons said they have this kind of screws, and we go back and forth, and I'm like, well, that's all well and good, and yada yada yada, and this and that, and finally, I get her agreed upon a price, I get her agreed upon a payment, unless it was cash, and I've won her over, so I think. She's like, good to go. She's like, I'm going to cancel this project, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, great. It was a finance deal because the next part I was like, all right, I'm going to sign this up on my phone real quick. I'm just going to need your license and social security number. to do the financing paperwork, which is a pretty common practice. And she's like, I don't feel comfortable with you. And I'm like, oh, man, lady, I've been here for an hour and a half in a full suit. There's no one more professional than me at this moment. And she's like, I just don't want to give you all that stuff. And I'm like, you gave it to the last guy, probably. I don't know, like, you know, whatever. And she's like, I'm not giving it to you. I'm like, I have the deal closed. Everything's good to go. But she won't give me her stuff. I'm not driving all the way out here to go settle it up. And so she's like, I'm not doing it. I go, lady, I happen to have my social security card and my license in the car. If I go get it and you take a picture of my social security card and my license, can I please have your license and social security card? And she goes, that'll work. And so I went out there, and my wife was like, oh, cool, ready to go. I go, nope, I sold it. I got to get my social security card and my license. I went in there. That lady took a picture of both of them, and I took a picture of hers. We signed up the paperwork and left. And I was like, that's just a weird, like, one-off, like, overcoming, like, the weird objections that we get in the house. Like, that was a super weird one. That was a super, I can't remember where it was for the life of me, but they all liked that story.
Yeah.
You know, so we had a good time tonight. They ordered steaks,
Seafood Tower?
we had a seafood tower,
Nice.
all that kind of stuff, and it was a good time. Ryan has been on a non-drinking thing for a while, and so he had like a couple margaritas, got a little loose.
Wow.
And we had a couple bottles of wine. Nice time. We all got dessert. Some guys took it home, some dessert for their wives. It's a good time.
That's how you do it with fancy dinners. You got to take dessert home for the wives.
At a SEALs meeting today at my house.
How'd that go?
Well, I mean, it was more relaxed, right? Because
It looked happy.
We're in my barn. You know, did you see anything from that?
I had a text message from it all, but yeah.
Like, it was more relaxing, and it felt easier for people to talk because it was kind of my domain.
Yeah.
And it was more like every time someone would get riled up, I go, hey, I'm talking, one person at a time, yada, yada, yada. And we got through stuff a whole lot better than what the normal sales meetings are.
Yeah.
You know, is where people are constantly going back for salespeople, all type A, all want to have their turn to speak. And that turn starts now, whenever they say it does.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, it felt like it was good and it was productive. A lot of the stuff was like going over the new stuff. Like, we're in a new phase over here at Perfect Steel where, you know, we've always for the last 5 years have got a surplus of everything.
Yeah.
You know, like we have always had more jobs than we could do in 3 months at all times. I mean, for 5 years. And we've grown exponentially, so it's been more and more. I mean, we ended last year with still 120 roofs to do. And still piling on. So winter came, the 120 was there, and we kept on trickling jobs. So we might get 2-3 installed a week in the wintertime when it gets bad. And we still had 120 to install. And, you know, we've been hiring a lot of people, and we got more crews. And we had 4 crews at one time, and we're doing 4 jobs a day for like 6 weeks, and we just kind of knocked out all the work. And now we're on like 1 to 2 week lead times, which is kind of crazy. Because it's never happened before. Usually I'm like, hey, if you want to get in, now's the time to get in because I can't promise you by the end of the year. Like, I just can't. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Usually by August, September, we start telling people that because, like, we just don't know. Like, we're going to try. You pay cash and it goes through immediately and all this other stuff. We'll get you measured. We'll get you installed. But, like, we don't know. You know, now we're not under. We're still overperforming last year, but at the same time, there's no surplus. So that means if I would run 4 crews ragged, we would be completely out of jobs by the end of the month.
Yeah.
So it's just a balancing act of like, as they come in, we sell, 5 to 10 jobs a week, and we install next week 5 to 10 jobs. And it's been like that for the next couple of weeks. So I told the guys it's a really good time to be in the roofing game for us because like we can promise that if you go walk into a house, like, hey, next week, like you could possibly look at a new roof and we get it done. No thinking about it. No waiting game. It's instant satisfaction, which all red-blooded Americans kind of enjoy. It's just been a kind of different game, and I know I've been on you lately in the marketing side of talking to more people and stuff. And what are some things that you're going to try to do with the marketing side to try to like bolster those numbers or get ahead?
One thing I hate doing, just because with all my previous jobs, I always hated myself because I have a huge problem with authority, especially when someone tells me what to do. I lose my mind there. And with with right now, so what I would try to do with the team is kind of more of a micromanagement, I guess. I want to like talk to them throughout the day and see where they're at, and then check in with them. Like, hey, these are how many doors you've hit this today so far. Why are you at 12 and everyone's over 30? What are you doing? Where are you at? What are you hearing right now? And so one thing I hate doing is I hate calling people out, especially in front of the rest of the team. But I've been doing that a little more recently. Two of my people, I text them through the group chat, and I was like, hey guys, it's 6 o'clock. You have no leads. You guys are at 40 doors each, and you have nothing. Not even a call to set. Some you're going to call later and set the appointment for, nothing. Like, what's going on? And they're like, we ran to a lot of renters, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm just asking you guys, just from my knowledge, are you guys going to be okay going home tonight when you get off work in an hour knowing that you put nothing on the board today? You're going to go home and tell your girls you did nothing all day. Are you okay with doing that?
Right.
They sit out till 9 o'clock at night. Both of them wrote 2 more appointments.
Nice. So does that tell you, like, I was always curious to that, like, we'll go into like the Blitz thing that I kind of going to start next week. But do you think that we're missing out on knocking times to close? Because we're stopping at what, 7?
7:30.
Are we missing out on another hour and a half worth of decent knock because that stays light so long?
Right.
Are we missing out on anything, like, historically speaking?
We used to stay out till 8:30. We get a lot more people yelling at us at 8 o'clock.
We're disturbing them and stuff.
Yeah, we're putting our kids to bed. Why are you bothering us this late at night for? Even though you can see perfectly fine at night. It's some of the break right now. People, especially in Anderson and Muncie, people would yell at us constantly.
I wondered that.
That's why we switched to the 7:30 was the cutoff time, because that's when people were cool with us still and stuff like that. That's why we switched to that. But no, I mean, those 2 guys who got the 2 extra leads, they told me it wasn't easy. It was hard for them too. They were pushing like, hey, we're in the area trying to help people out right now. You know, I can see you have an older roof. I stopped by today, because a lot of what they do with our program, everything's marked. And I'm very big on them. If they have a house, they mark as the house they want to go back to, put notes in there of why they want to go back to that house. So even if it's kind of dark outside, kind of shadow, you can't see the roof, you can look at the notes and say, cool, these people have lifting shingles, have missing shingles, or the windows have plastic over them. So you might not be able to see at night, but you see from the notes in the Spodio program we use, boom, I can go back to this house and tell them this. I drove by earlier. I saw this in your house. I had to make sure before I went home tonight, I wanted to help you guys out.
Mm-hmm. That seemed to work. I mean,
it did, yes.
2 more leads a piece?
A piece.
So 4 more leads.
Yep.
Next days?
They're set for tomorrow, for Thursday, which is great, because I just checked right now, and this week's been a slow week, and it's very rare I ever raise my voice to my team, just because I like the high adrenaline, the positive reinforcement, and once in a while you got to do that, the dad voice, and give them like, hey, I'm disappointed in you guys. What are you really doing out there? And that was kind of Monday's meeting, and Tuesday it didn't really carry too well for Tuesday for them. It kind of still kind of like, and so I tried a different approach Tuesday about it. I was texting them. I'm like, hey, I know you're trying out there, but what you're doing is not working. Why don't you try doing X, Y, Z? Why don't you try doing this from now on? Somebody else would be like, hey, how about you start go back to your pitch that we did in training? If you're like, hey, I'm brand new. I don't know much about this product, but I want to help you. I know you have an older roof. I know that much. And I would really love to help you. And I just checked today. Tomorrow we have 18 appointments on the board.
That's awesome.
And it took everything not to tear up just a little bit ago. I saw that. I was like, oh, finally, because.
So you think it's more to do with the practice of pitching, not motivation?
I don't think it's a motivation thing, because their paychecks are driven mostly by money.
Right.
And a lot of them, they've seen those $1,500, $2,000 paychecks a week, and they want to continue living that lifestyle. So it's not a motivation thing. But when you're going, 5-6 hours and you hear no 24/7, you're getting the door slammed in your face all day long. It's kind of hard once that prime time hits to keep that gun-ho, yay, let's go do this attitude, and
Right.
keep hitting houses there. So, one thing I preach big time on them is at 5 o'clock, I want them to take a half-hour break. Go to the gas station, play Pokemon, go for a walk on a trail somewhere. Get away from work. Turn off the group chat, half an hour, just go somewhere. Get their mind clear this way. When they go back at 5:30, when the working class gets home, at the time they're home, they've relaxed, they've showered, they're home with their family now. Now, you're coming with a fresh, brand new energy in there because you just relaxed yourself.
No.
They relaxed from coming home from work. Now you can match energies with them. And one of the biggest things I tell them after that thing there is like, hey, listen, you guys are working, right? They're like, yeah. I said, it's hard out there. It's raining. It's super hot right now in the summertime.
Super hot.
It's
No
humid.
rain, but it's super hot.
Humid here in Indiana. It's humid. So I told them, like, listen, you're the working class. Match that with the customer. The customer thinks when you knock on the door, you're trying to make them poor and you richer. Match them. Hey, man, I understand you just got off work. You're probably tired. I wouldn't want to talk to me if I came to your door either. But I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm here to help you right now. So I did notice you have a roof that's lifting some shingles, missing some shingles, and I'm pretty sure this is the biggest investment you're going to make in your whole life is your house. You probably want to protect it so you don't have another headache coming on a few months down the road. Am I right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of what I want them doing here. And, I've been doing a lot of touching with all my employees throughout the day, calls, text messages, FaceTimes, sending funny TikToks to people. And it helped. It helped a lot. That's one thing that I can say with my busy schedule with my kids, I've kind of lacked on myself personally. It's not giving my employees the attention they need. I have 4 employees right now asking me when we can go to dinner together. It's been months since we've gone to dinner together, or months since we've gone and hung out just one-on-one, had a cigar and stuff like that. And, I tell them on the phone, like, you're right. We haven't done that in a long time. It's my fault 100%. I am very big on my family and stuff like that. And same token, though, I treat my employees like my family, and that's one thing I've been lacking on is my employees. So I'm trying to get back into that groove. Tonight's dinner was one of those first steps with me and my employees, and he loved it. Him and his girlfriend were talking about it. They posted on Facebook about it. They were happy about it. So it's something that I need to keep doing with. Case in point, they put 18 leads up on the board just to me
That's huge.
talking to the whole team throughout Tuesday and today. They put up 18 leads on the board today.
Yeah,
So
that's
for tomorrow. So that's huge for me. It's something I got to work with my assistant on to make sure she's more streamlined for me, so I don't have to worry about the more day-to-day stuff. So I can give that attention to my employees, not have to worry about my Indeed or interviews or trainings, so I can get more hands on with my employees and stuff like that. So that's one thing.
That's where you shine, really. That's where you shine.
Right.
When you give the attention to the employees and they get that one-on-one time with you.
Right.
I feel like they really enjoy that and they really cherish that and they want to be around you. That's most of the reason when they interview with you. That's the reason they want to work here is because they know your energy and they know they're going to get taken care of and stuff. And so when you get busy, it kind of seems like they get put on the back burner.
Yeah.
And don't I know that with salespeople?
Right. I had an interview today. Funny story about that. I had an interview today. The guy is a bricklayer. He's been doing
Like an actual bricklayer.
actual bricklayer. Scratches up and down his arm. He came in sweaty. He just got off work. And he's making $22 an hour.
Decent.
And he's like, I hate this job. He's like, I'll do anything to get out of this job. I was like, cool, man. So I gave him a little description about the company, of what we can offer and what we do. And my interview process is a little backwards because one thing with our company is we take care of our employees a lot and we do above and beyond what a normal company would do for an employee. And so I told him what we can do and what we can do to offer to help him with it as far as trainings and the personal attention and things that are important to him are important to me. And I was like, man, so everything I can offer you, and this is a door-to-door game. You're gonna live in that world of rejection. People who slamming the door in your face, not a guaranteed paycheck every week. Why would you want to work for me? And right away, he's like, listen, man, I've been a laborer my whole life. I work hard. My girlfriend tells me I work too much and blah, blah, blah. I'll be the best worker you've ever had. I said, hey, that's amazing. I love to hear that. I'm going to be honest with you. I've heard it 100 times alone.
I was going to say,
this year alone, I've heard that 100 times. So tell me, what sets you different than everybody else? He's like, I'll go out there right now and I know what I'm doing, and I'll get you 2 or 3 appointments right now. I said, all right, man, cool. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. Here's my business card. If you have any questions, you get home, shoot me a text message, and then I'll be in touch with you. The guy called me 5 minutes later. He was still in the parking lot. He didn't leave. He called me 5 minutes later. Hey, Jim, I don't know if I gave you the impression I didn't want this job or if I didn't have the right energy you're looking for, please give me this opportunity. I feel like your company is something I can succeed in. I want to thrive in. I want this job. I will quit my job right now if you offer me this position.
Nuts.
And I was like, yeah, man, that's a different energy you gave me in your interview. He's like, please give me this opportunity. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to call my assistant right now. So give you a call here in about the next 15, 20 minutes. And I'll see you next week for training. He's like, are you serious? Thank you so much. He's like, you want me to call my boss three-way right now on the phone with you? I said, no, man, I believe you. Just be here Friday for onboarding. We'll start training Monday. He's like, thank you so much, Jim. Thank you so much.
Nice.
So that was a huge win for me today.
That's
and
different.
then, so yeah, it's crazy when you ask like what works for canvassing and stuff like that, and what you can do to increase productivity. It's not really a simple solution of what works. So there's times where like this Monday and Tuesday, you asked me Monday, what we're doing for canvassing. I gave you my whole plan for the week of what I was planning on doing.
It was a busy week.
I gave you my plan for the future, what I plan on doing in 2 weeks from now when I'm done with training. And that was me just shooting in the dark. This is what I'm going to do. I didn't take him out canvassing with me. And these past 2 days, it's just me giving them attention and talking to them again. And right away, everyone's energy shot up. They had 11 on the board today, 18 tomorrow. So if that's any indication to me of I slacked as their boss, myself, of not giving them attention that they deserve, right there's a huge, huge indicator for me right there. I need to get back to the swing of things with my employees and do more stuff after work, pre-work, weekend stuff with my employees again, because they live for it. So
then I come in and do something behind your back this week.
Yeah.
And I decided that I want to do this test. I've been wanting to do this test for a while because the door-to-door game, it's not a perfect science, right? I mean, it's not
at all.
We don't have all the key indicators, and like there's people out there. Sam Taggart's one of the biggest ones, and if he would say that he's figured out the golden thing, that if you do this, then you'll find everyone that needs a roof or windows or solar. If you do this, then it will work. And like he doesn't ever preach that. He's like, these are some good things. These are some key tips, blah blah. But he never says there's a golden rule. And I've been trying to find stuff for a while that would be different than what we're doing, because your guys go and they only find qualified houses in the areas that we are canvassing, which I mean are sometimes an hour and a half away, 2 hours. So you got the hour and a half, 2 hours after they leave, and then you got the when they get there, they're kind of like looking for certain neighborhoods and stuff like that. Then they go find a couple houses that they really want to hit because the roof is terrible, but they got nice cars in the driveway, look to be like they could use a roof and afford a new roof, and it's the right time for them. And then they pretty much find those 10 to 15 houses, and they hit those over and over again all day long.
Yep.
And I've never been underneath the impression that was 100% the way to go, and we go back and forth because we've had people do massive amount of numbers and have massive success. We've also had more people do small amount of houses and have massive success. But it seems to me like the general population only hits 100 doors a week.
100, 150
under
average,
original doors.
Yeah.
The average.
Yeah.
There's some people that only do 30 a week, and I know because I've asked them. And then there's some people that do 150, but 100 doors seems average to me. You don't think so?
I tell you, I look
That's
at
what
the
they
numbers.
tell me.
If I ever see anyone doing only 30 doors a week, we're having a
The
conversation.
same knock. They're knocking that though multiple times.
Okay, that could be a difference.
Yeah, they're knocking it.
The program shows
30
how many
houses.
Okay, yes,
but
that might be
every
different.
every interaction is a knock.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
And so, 100 doors, 100 knocks.
Yeah.
I think that the way I would do it, if I found this, by the way, and if I found this game in high school, it would have ruined me completely. Because I'm so driven that if someone said, like, if you go out here and you talk to people that need roofs or windows or gutters or soffit and fascia, blah, 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 if you do that and they sign up and you can make X, I would just work from sun up till sundown and hit as many as possible. I don't know how my talent would rank among all the best people we've ever had or currently have, but I just think that I would be hugely successful in that. And so I pulled two people, unbeknownst to you, I pulled two people aside in the morning and told them, hey, I did something. I went out and took $2,000 out of my own personal bank account and go, hey, I want to do something crazy. I picked these two people because they got no girlfriends. They got no kids. They got no baseball games to go to. They don't got anything like that. It's straight up, they work and go home and have their own little things. I go, I want you to do basically an actual blitz. Like, I want you to knock 1,000 doors in 1 week. When most of the average is 100, I want you to do 10 times more than that in 1 week. Mm-hmm. My theory behind this is that you'll hit at different times than everyone's hitting. You'll hit in different houses that people would normally hit. You don't have time to spot. You're literally going door to door, every door, which is not what we preach. We preach find the houses. Let's not talk to the people that have a brand new house. Let's not talk to people that, it's a hollowed out, burned out house and things like that. If you know that they could be renters or something like that, we don't preach that we would do that. So what if you hit 1,000 doors in 7 days? Did the math on it, something like 15 doors an hour after you get to territory, blah, blah, blah. 15 doors an hour for 7 days in a row, 12-hour days. They come here, they fill up, and I fill up their gas tanks and do everything. 9 o'clock they go out, 9 o'clock they end. 7 days in a row, 1,000 doors. And then I give them $1,000 of my own money. You get to keep if the people get interested, if they demo, if they buy, whatever happens, that's on you. Knowing that no matter what happens, you're gonna get $1,000 cash at the end of the week. All you got to do is show up at 9 and then come back here at 9 and talk to me about what happened. I want to see what will happen. Is it because obviously it's not going to be if you knock 10 times X doors than what they normally do. I don't think that's reasonable to say that they'll get 10X of what they normally produce. So they produce 2 a day on average or 1. They're not going to get 8 to 20 leads a day. They're just not. They're just not.
Yeah.
But could it be double? Could it be triple per day? You're talking about the whole team did, and you have 20 plus canvassers. You're talking about they put 18 leads on the board. Can I have one guy out of the 2 put up 18 leads in a day? 18 leads in 2 days? Consistently, maybe put 50 leads on the board by himself? I don't know. I want to believe that it's possible that will happen, but I'm not exactly sure if it will happen. And I don't want them to go out there and kill. No one could do that. Me and you, if we went out there with 100% eyes on, we couldn't do it week to week to week. It's just too much. We have families, we have commitments and everything like that. We have jobs. But if these guys can do it for 1 week, they'll give us some actionable intelligence on what's going on.
Yeah.
Is 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock too early to knock? Are people getting annoyed at us? I don't want to bother anybody. What about if 9 o'clock's too late? Like you said, you stop knocking at 7:30. You're not going to be able to stop knocking at 7:30. So, like, what is what are the data that we can get? How many more people are going to be not interested? How many people are going to be interested? How many people are going to be not home during those times? With 2 people doing it, we'll have a lot of actionable evidence of that. And I think that I did this. I tried to do it one time before with one of your employees about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, knock 1,000 doors. I think I was even going to pay more money. I don't even remember, but I was like, just knock.
It was 1,000 again.
It was 1,000.
It was 1,000, yeah.
1,000. And I go, no matter what happens, I'll pay you $1,000 cash. Whatever happens, you keep the rest. At the end of day 2, he quit. Because he had so many confirms. He had already made like $1,500. If nothing else happened the rest of the week, he would still make $1,500. And he quit. because he's like, I'm good. My wife's mad. My kids don't see me, blah, blah, blah. And I've already made way enough money that it suffices for this week. And I was like, that's good, for one, because he made some money that week, and I'm sure it helped the company. But I didn't get a real good reach, not for 2 days, to see what could actually be evident, with all that data. Because that's a lot of data. Can you even mark that many houses in a week? How long does it take you to mark a house? Like, we have a program called Spotio that we use to track our employees that are out there, and then they have to say what the interaction was and the address that it was, and then log the interaction. Did we knock and they were not home? Did we knock and say they weren't interested? Did we knock and say that, my husband's not home and come back later? Did we knock and say, yeah, I want an appointment, free estimate, yada, yada, yada. Like, how many think that?
Walking up the driveway, knocking, waiting, knocking again, and then marking it, I'd say about a minute and a half. Minute and a half to 2 minutes is the average time for our house.
So then you agree that it's possible to do 15 an hour?
Easily.
So then what do you think that we're going to find out? What's your predictions? Because I'll bring it up after this thing is done. I'll bring it up on the podcast on if they actually made it throughout the week, 1. 2, if they made it, what kind of the data that we, kind of dissected from all that stuff.
My hope is that you're right. Because one thing about our relationship is we both butt heads a lot with our ideas because they don't usually align a lot of the time. But there's times where your ideas clash with mine, but somehow they work. So I'm hoping this is one idea that you have that's genius, because it would give us more insight to possibly change part of our pay structure into not really forcing people to do something similar to that, but encourage them. Like, hey, look, these are the numbers. It worked for these 2 people. You want to be successful? Do this. So I think I really, really, really hope both these people are good for 10 to 11 leads sent in and about 4 to 6 on the board per week. So my hope for that is they're getting 10 to 12 on the board a week.
A week. You only think it'll slightly, maybe
I think one
a little bit more than double.
I think one
per person.
I think one of the 2 people are going to make it through the week. I think one of the persons is going to probably drop off come Wednesday, Thursday. One of those 2 days they're going to drop off. I don't think they're going to make it.
I think you're right. I think the chances that both people make it throughout the week are low.
Right. One guy.
It takes a special person to work 12-hour days, 7 days in a row.
Yeah. One guy, though, he has big dreams and aspirations, especially with our company. He came from another canvassing company. Before that, he came from an RV company. And during his interview, he told me all the things he heard about our company, and seeing it firsthand is completely different than what he knew about our company. And 2 months in, he said, this is something I can see myself doing the rest of my life. He's like, whatever I can do to move up in this company, whatever I can do to be successful in this company, please let me do it. And I said, you got to prove yourself to me first. You want a chance to move up in the company, to help train my new employees and help us grow the company into Ohio and Kentucky. I want to see you producing now. So he has big goals, big aspirations. He wants to buy a house this year. He has a car, he has a motorcycle and a boat, and he wants to buy a house this year. So I know he has big goals, and I feel like he's the main one that's going to go hard at this. He's going to do everything possible to do it. So realistically, I think he's going to hit about 10 to 12 on the board this week. My goal for him, though, is 20 to 25.
Yeah, no, that's why I think that's where my aspirations are set, that he does 20% of what the entire week's goal is.
Yeah.
I hope that he puts viable 20 leads on the board that are good people, interested, they need the product, yada, yada, yada. Because my theory is, Jimmy, and this is just a theory, I'm not out there, I'm not on the ground like you. My theory is that you don't know what's going on the backside of their house. We're not walking to the other side of people's house. We don't know what's going on. Do more people have more trees in their front yard or their backyard?
Front.
You think so?
Yeah.
I would say backyard.
Do you?
I would say backyard.
I have none in my backyard.
You are right. You don't have any trees in your backyard.
I don't think any of my neighbors do. I feel in the country, you're right. There's a lot more trees in the backyard. And when you get to like
Could be because I just live in the country. But
or bigger houses, yes.
Anyway, in my mind, there's trees in the backyard for shade and everything else. And for whatever reason, like the mold and algae growth, the lifting shingles, the branches that hit them, and the damage that's done to the roof, and the different 3 seasons room that always leaks when they have crappy rolled roofing and shingles. You don't know what their windows are like on the back. They could have had a pellet gun fight and broken a couple windows out, and you can't see them. I just think that you're going to run into more people. Is there going to be more bad leads? I think so. You're going to run more people that don't own the house. You're going to run into people that are just not interested in doing that. People that just replaced everything. But I just have to imagine that if you talk to people, they're going to fall in to be like, I was just going to call you guys. Like, we're here now. What's up?
Yeah.
1,000? 1,000.
We got to think in sales, it's the rule of 50. So of those 1,000 doors are going to hit, 500 people are going to be home. Of those 500 people, 250 of them could be semi-interested. But those 250, only 125 people, they can actually have an opportunity to close them. And of those, 60 of them, I think they can get to that point to get them close on that board, which should be about the 30 mark goes on the board for us. But I think we're in a group chat. Me and the 2 guys are in a group chat together.
Did you make a group chat just because I stole those 2 guys?
Yeah, 100%. We sent TikToks to each other. I sent him a TikTok of Will Ferrell going, I'm so thirsty. I'm so thirsty. I said, this is going to be you guys come Wednesday when you're out there and you have no water on you guys. And one of the guys
will break the water.
One of the guys said, I'm going to buy a camel pack so I can go out there. I'm like, I will personally go to Dick's Sporting Goods with you and buy camel
If they're 100% in, they do it. I'll buy the camel pack. The one thing that's like a backpack that straps over your shoulder and like puts a little, mouthpiece so you could suck water from your back.
Yeah. So we're joking about that. And I told him, I was like, hey guys, listen, this is a huge opportunity for you, especially the one guy who wants to be successful. I'm like, this is your opportunity. So you have the owner of the company looking at you. You want to shine. This is your time to shine right here. And the other guy, he's kind of like more of a yes man. He's like, I'm going to do it too. Watch, you'll be proud of me. I'm like, I am proud of you. So whether you do it or not, I'm proud of you. So we'll see how it goes. He's like, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to be successful. Which I hope and pray he proves me wrong. I hope so. Because both of them deserve it. Every one of my employees deserve it. But of the 2 of them going for this goal you have them on, the one guy I think could fall out. I think he deserves it more than anyone to be that successful. I hope he can do it.
Well, I think we hope that same guy is successful.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know much about the other guy, but the other guy is quite a character. And I really want him to succeed. And he's down to do whatever. He's down to do landscaping here. He's down to do helping you with whatever. I really want him to be. I just really hope that it gives us. I hope it is not a waste of time. It's not a waste of money.
No, never. No.
It is going to work at some respect. They're not going to do any worse than they normally do. Agreed?
Very, very, very true.
They're not going to do any worse than they normally do. So it's like, if they're not going to do any worse than they normally do, we're just trying to get something to happen that hasn't happened yet. And then we can go use that information to go talk to other people intelligently and like, hey, normally I would say that the way that you communicate to the customer, the number of doors you hit a week, have some X to do with the percentage of stuff that you either get people interested in stuff, or it has nothing to do with it. You have to get better at the pitching. You have to get better at reading people. You have to get better at spotting. You have to get better at product knowledge. Something. Either way, we'll have actionable intel to literally go to someone and be like, hey, we had people go knock 1,000 doors. You don't want to knock 1,000 doors, do you? The answer is always going to be no. No one's going to want to knock those 1,000 doors. So, like, what can we do to be more successful? Is it going to be knocking at different times? Because we've changed knocking times quite a few times.
Yep.
And if that's part of the key, you're going to bet that we're going to change knocking times.
100%.
If it's going to be certain houses, if we go a bunch of like we're only hitting neighborhoods now. If that's the key to it, we'll hit only neighborhoods from now on. No more country houses and blah blah blah. You know, we won't hit any of those. We'll hit only those. Only city stuff. We'll be able to tell our group of 20 plus people that go out and market for us, this is what we found out. You don't have to knock 1,000 doors. We've done it. This is what we found out. If you want to be successful, if you want to heighten your chances, if you're gambling, you know, we like the casino sometimes.
Yeah.
If you're gambling, you want to know what's your best odds. When you go play something, you know you can lose. You're probably going to lose, but you want to know your best odds. And we're just giving them the best odds to be successful. You know, it's like we don't know what's going to happen out there. Every day's going to be a crapshoot. But what if you could be a little bit more targeted with either times, certain houses, certain number of doors, X, and then we could pretty much promise you that you're going to be at least this successful.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like I said, I hope that you are right in this game you want to play with it all. I hope that the people are successful in it. I hope that they can make decent money at it. I hope that, you know, they can improve their paychecks first off, on top of their ability to talk to people, because hitting 1,000 doors talking to 400 or 500 people, you're going to learn pretty quickly what works, what doesn't work. When people say this, how to change your tonality, how to change your voice inflection on people, when to attack, when to like step off the gas a little bit with customers. You're going to become a lot stronger employee doing that.
Never thought about that part. Like, what's the second week look like after they get done knocking 1,000 doors?
You got to
One,
believe their confidence.
It's possible.
You got to believe their confidence to the roof after that first week doing that. You got to leave their confidence to the roof at that point. All that knowledge and experience they gained through that has to be through the roof at that point. Because now they're going to be able to spot roofs a lot easier. Like, oh, this guy's roof here is probably 7, 8 years old. His windows, though, I noticed the locks are a certain way, or the sashes are a certain way in the windows. Those are 15-year-old windows. Great, I'm going to hit this guy now for those windows. And give him a lot more insight and knowledge of knowing who to talk to, when to talk to them, when to approach them, knowing to like do everything with that customer. I think it's going to be, I think that part right there is the biggest thing I'm looking for.
And they've knocked 1,000 doors in a week. So next time they go, well, just didn't work out this week for me, Jim. How many doors you knocked? 30, 60, 100. Did you have equally the amount of luck that you had? Because it should be kind of, I'm guessing, semi equal to the amount of doors you knock to how successful you are, depending on your talent level. Hey, bro, you knocked 60 doors this week. Like, you did okay. You got, you know, like, if you want to be more, you know that you have to do more.
Yeah.
Or be like, hey, man, we got to work on your pitch because what you knocked at 60 doors, you should already be blah, 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 you know, that kind of stuff. I'm excited.
I'm intrigued to see the results. I
put my own money.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing right there. That's key.
I'm putting my own money on the line. No company money, nothing. I don't want to take away from what you do. I did tell them that they're not allowed to come into meetings or do anything like that. They're not allowed to ride with people, yada, yada, yada.
That little bit irked me there. I was like,
yeah, they're not allowed to ride with people. They're not allowed to come to meetings. They're not allowed to fill up with everybody else. They're not allowed to do any of that stuff. Don't pay attention to the group chat. None of that stuff. Send it in. Let it go. Go on to the next thing.
Question on that one then. You tell them not to pay attention to the group chat. If they send an appointment in and the girls can't get a hold of the customer, you want to forget it and just hope the girls call them again?
Nah.
Well, the girls are going to call it twice anyways after the first
care.
phone call.
Don't care.
Okay.
Don't care.
I am really intrigued by these numbers now. I cannot wait to see the results.
Don't go back.
Okay.
You don't have time.
To be fair, we did have a guy like that before.
Yeah, we did.
3 years ago.
One.
Yeah, 30 years ago. And he did not care about his leads. He said it, and then next house. Didn't matter what happened to it. He ignored the girls. Whatever happened to it, he ignored it. And to this day, he still has a record for the company in 1 month's time. 1 month, he has a record.
He has a record.
276,000 for the 1 month. Our number one guy right now, his is only 220. Now he said our new guy who has the record for the year, no one's gonna. I hope someone does, but no one's coming close to his record. He shattered the previous records for the year. He reached $1.2 million this past year for us. So
That's a lot.
Yeah.
1/10 of the entire company.
Yeah. He does it with a smile on his face. He cannot wait to wake up and go hit a door. He'll go out to dinner with his girlfriend and text me, "Hey, this house here in Fort Wayne, can I hit it?" It makes 9 o'clock at night. No. He's like, "Please." I'm like, "No." He's like, "Can I hit it tomorrow morning?" I said, "Yes, after 9 o'clock you can go hit that house if you want to." But then he'll hit it, but he won't send it in right away. He'll be like, "They're gonna give you a call around 1 o'clock." And then he'll wait till like 12 and send it in. This way he knows that the girls are going to call right away with it.
Smart. Switching gears, I think I'd like to talk about temperaments and things that we deal with, because I think it's pretty fair across the board that you're gonna have kerfuffles.
Oh yeah.
With your employees. I recently just went through with my sales manager and one of my best guys, and that they had a minor falling out. Salesperson did something, and that made the sales manager upset. They had words, and they kept on going to where it was like tense. And if you know anything about our company, it's not tense a whole bunch. And so I don't like it. And most of the people that work with us, especially the salespeople, especially the canvassers, they're my friends.
Yeah.
I mean, not all of them are my family, but all of them are my friends. And I don't like that weird tension. And so we had a sales meeting today. And after the sales meeting, I had the sales manager and the salesperson stay after, and we talked. And I'm like, "Hey guys, why have this air of maybe disobedience, maybe air of arrogance? Why do we have this going on? We've been with each other for years and years now. Why now? Why this?" And I listened to him, and I did a really good job of mediating, like, don't combat, let him finish a thought, then you can talk, then we can go back and forth. And it was really, because when you text somebody or you call someone, the loudest person or the one who texts the most or the one that's a sharp almost always wins or destroys the conversation every single time. But when you're in the same room, it's hard to be like, no. Like, this is what I'm saying. Whatever you say is wrong. Our people do a really good job of like listening to that stuff. And so when I calmed them down and they could talk intelligently to one another, they were really good about, "Hey, when you did this," it almost seems like marriage counseling. "When you did this, it made me feel this way, and I react this way when people say that." And without getting to specifics, like, if you can get your employees, if they're having and this happened a lot in the previous jobs I've had, that you're gonna come to odds with somebody. Jimmy, I know that you've been fired before, and I've been fired before, and like, it just doesn't work out with whatever people. No matter what we could have done, maybe we couldn't have saved it or not. But I know that a lot of mine could have been if I could have presented an idea a different way or communicated a lot better in a timely fashion, it would have been way different for me. I'm thankful that it led me to this, but at the same token, I don't want to, have that happen again. So when I have these talks with people, I let them speak their piece, why they're upset. We have a pain point, right? Why they're upset. This happened. I understand that it happened. Were you wrong or right? May not matter to you at all. Okay. Then this person, why are you upset? Well, when they did that, it made me feel this way, so I retaliated. And then what happens? They retaliate, and it just keeps on going back and forth. And with type A people, it's rarely that one just submits to the other one. You know, we're a lot of alphas in here. We're a lot of go-getters. We're a lot of handle our business. We take care of our families. We take care of our friends. We take care of everybody. We don't back down from nothing. We'll never back down from a fight, that kind of stuff. And but when I sat them down and they listened to each other like, oh, I thought you meant this when you said this on text messages. When it came down to it, it was like, no, I didn't mean that. Well, that's what I inferred from your text messages. And it really worked out to be a whole lot better. And by the end of it, it was, singing Kumbaya around a campfire.
Nice.
Which was a lot better for me. The one common thing that if you're a business owner that I can say, or a manager, is that if you're a good manager and you do more than what's expected, the one thing that people, no matter what their issue is, they have in common is they both don't want to make you upset. When I told them, like, maybe we can't find any common ground between you guys, but the one common ground between both of us, all three of us, is that I've never let you down. I've never let you down. Do you guys want to let me down? Do you guys want me to feel some pain because of some stuff? The one common thing was like, no, we don't want you to. They could find some common ground like, well, this is dumb. If it makes Austin upset, then why would we even do it in the first place? And that was like where the starting point of like they could see some common ground and be like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done X. Well, then I shouldn't have retaliated with Y, and I shouldn't try to be this way, and it's not worth it at the end of the day. I don't know if you have like a common, like a thread with that at all.
Yeah, I mean, my whole team, again, I preach that we're not a family company because that throws red flags to everyone right away, because mostly people say they're a family company.
Everybody says they're a family company.
Are companies who are family for the higher ups. But one thing I preach to them is we're a team. And, as when you're managing people, you got to be able to learn to be that chameleon, be that analytical person, be the A-type, be the submissive person, give the people what they need so they can feel heard and stuff. So when I'm dealing with different problems like that, I have one guy on the team right now who just believes that everyone hates him. He believes that the world is out to get him no matter what. And for the longest time, he believed that I just wanted to fire him. That I hated him. I just want to fire him, that nothing he can do will work. To where he started sending his appointments in through other people to see if they would go through. And
conspiracy theorist kind of guy.
Yeah, 100%. And so I pulled him aside one day. And I said, listen, we both know if I wanted to fire you, it'd be just me saying, you're done, you can leave right now. So the fact you think that is stupid. I said, but the fact that you feel so hurt that you think we would turn our back on you hurts me. Mm-hmm. For everything I've done with you for the past 5 years, you would think I would turn my back on you because you're not producing numbers right now? It changed his whole attitude right away. He started crying.
Really? You told me this.
Yeah. It happened this week. He started crying. He's like, well, I'm behind on my bills. I can't turn my cell phone on right now. He's like, I got to do this. I got to pay for this. I go, how much is your cell phone bill? He's like, it costs me $45 a month. I'm like, that's what you're concerned about? $45 a month for your cell phone bill? That's what you're concerned about right now? He says, yeah. I'm like, so I give you $100 of my own personal money. Means your cell phone's on for 2 months, right? He's like, yeah. I go, here, put on my wallet right then and gave it to him. He's like, why would you do this for? I don't want your money. I can survive myself. I don't need your money. Right away, he started getting angry right away again. I said, listen, stop. You're going back into your old traits again. I'm trying to tell you, you think I hate you? You think I only want you here because you can produce numbers from me. You're not producing numbers. This is not money from the company. This is coming out of my kids' school fund, my kids' sports funds. It's coming out of my own personal pocket for you to show you I don't hate you. I care about you a lot. If I didn't, I wouldn't do stuff for your birthday. I wouldn't text you. And he was like, I just want you to let you know this doesn't change anything. I said, that's fine. Doesn't change anything. But here it is for you, just in case. Since then, completely different person in the company. Happy again. He's writing leads all over again. Completely different attitude. You know,
Was he part of the 18 leads today?
He has 2 on the board for tomorrow.
Nice.
2 on the board for tomorrow. And you know, it's a lot of times people get angry because they feel a certain way. Kind of like you're talking about with the text messages. People misconstrue things because they've been hurt in previous jobs. You know, this company that we have is completely different than everybody else. And so
Completely different.
It's very easy to fall back into the rat race of what corporate America and everybody else puts them through, that race of dangling the carrot, of you have to live the life, you have to live to work. It's very easy to fall back into that because that's life for everybody. And, you know, so one of the biggest things is having patience with it. And that's one thing that you excel at like crazy. Even, you know, there's times I don't show my employees when I get upset or I'm like at a 9 or a 10, I'm shaking. We're at the point, I'm like, meeting's over. Everybody go get gas. Leave me alone. And I walk to your desk right away and I'm sitting there. I just got to breathe for a little bit. Give me a second. I got to breathe. And I'm shaking. I'm full of adrenaline. I'm like, I just need to, don't talk to me right now. So give me a second to breathe. You're that person for me. Granted, my wife is huge for me too, but you're my person that when I get to that level, I need someone to fall back on and talk to. And a few people with the temperaments, whether they've had a rough life growing up, you know, one of our employees, they moved to their house when they were 14 years old and they couch surfed. From 14 years on, their mom and dad weren't part of their lives. They moved out and, you know, they were looking for that person to be that father figure for them. And it's one of those people you're talking about, you know, one of the people who do 1,000 doors. He calls me dad. He talks to me like I'm his dad. When he just needs something for advice for life, he texts me right away. Hey, I have this going on. What would you do in this situation? You know, so the temperaments are easy to control as long as you have that patience to listen to what that core root is.
No, I think that you do a good job of that as well. I mean, I think that's one of the huge reasons that maybe us as a company have been successful is that a couple of the key managers, maybe not just you and me, but maybe a lot of me and you, is that it's not so cut and dry with us. You don't have to produce a lot. You know, like the people that get the most attention wherever you're at, like the Subway. You work at Subway and you crank out the most sandwiches and they're the most beautiful. That's the best employee. If you're at a car sales lot and you sell the most cars, then you're the dude that gets all the attention, all the premium time off, all the extra accolades and the awards and the walk-in customers or whatever. If you're an insurance salesman or something and you get all the call-ins and stuff because you have 60 new accounts every month, blah, blah, blah. You know, it rarely moves the marker to who gets the attention or who gets the love to us. It rarely moves the marker. Now, of course, we're going to always reward the top producers. But it's not like that we forget about the people and what they've done for us in the past. Like, you can very rarely also the people that are the most invested, the people that believe in us the most, and the people that work the hardest are very rarely the lowest people in the totem pole. But there are people at times that become that guy that you took to dinner tonight. At times he's been the lowest on the totem pole. We've treated him no different and given him, you know, cars and vacations and all that other stuff, even when he hasn't been top dog.
Yeah.
Because we know what he's done for us in the past. It may not be his time right now to shine, but to us it doesn't really matter. We don't see people as the wins and losses column, like, you know, hey, you're part of my killers. That we took a guy tonight who's not even close to being top 3 salesperson, and we took him because he really cares. He really believes in us. He really tries hard. It doesn't matter to us. Like, he's the kind of people that I want to surround myself with. He's the kind of people that I want to take care of in the future. He's the next future of our company when I think of I'd rather have someone that believes in us and tries really hard than someone super talented and doesn't care about us, doesn't care about the company.
Right. And one of the biggest things, like, managers and owners look at employees like they're all cogs in a machine. Everybody's working together to make this machine work. But when you take a step back and notice the machine, I mean, we have 6 machines in here that make our metal roofs, right? But if something goes wrong, it's not the machine. It could be one gear is off. It could be a screw wasn't tightened enough. It could be a couple different things. It's the same way with a company. Your numbers might be great, but if you have 2 or 3 screws losing or loose and your product isn't up to par, what are you doing to fix it? Are you leaving, oh, cool, my company's doing great, I'm making a lot of money, why not just stick with that? It's paying attention to every single cog, every single gear, every single screw to make sure we continue to move forward together as a team. That's one of the biggest things I preach to my team right now is, whether you're my top dog, you're my bottom person, you're here for a reason. I hired you on my team for a reason. You've shown me you can do stuff. And maybe, maybe it's not their time because maybe something at home's going on. Maybe they're just in their head, they feel like what they're doing isn't working and they doubt themselves. A lot of people deal with that self-confidence level a lot where they don't think that they're the best because they see the top dogs blowing up like crazy 24/7. They're like, I'm never going to be that person. If I'm not that person, why am I even going to try hard? I should just try minimum to make my paychecks, to pay my bills, and be okay. And being able to recognize that and tighten those screws, oil those cogs and those gears, and make sure they're all fully functioning makes everything run so much smoother.
I agree 100%. We preach always, whether it's office, sales, marketing, the team is always going to be more profitable, more strong, more effective than any one person could ever be.
Yeah.
We couldn't run this company with the top 2 dogs, top 3 dogs in each of the sales things and then get rid of everyone else. Like, it just wouldn't happen. As a team, we're way more successful than we could ever be with the most successful people that we've ever had. We've gone through iterations in our company in the past of where we've tried to focus on acquiring talent, acquiring people that have proven abilities and stuff that hasn't panned out. Because we focused on those people, we gave them all the love, all the adoration, all the perks, everything. But they weren't the right people for our company. They just weren't. And then when we went back to a team mentality every single time, it got better. Every single time it got better.
We had our biggest year last year, getting rid of the 3 people who we gave all the attention to for the house, the car, flowers, vacations, paid time off. When we took that away from those 3 people alone and focused more on the team as a whole, we had more leads last year than we ever wrote. We had more sales than we ever had.
True.
And I guess that's what I said. You got to look at the whole machine as a whole instead of just that 1 or 2 things that are producing for you right now. If 3 of your 4 machines work, great. But if that one machine is not working for you, you can't just leave it there. Oh, we'll use it someday. We'll fix it someday. You got to have a company as a whole going together.
I agree. So, Jimmy, I wanted to kind of get your... We've talked about it a little bit in the past, but you're going to have canvassers that have marketers, door-to-door people, whatever you're going to call them. You're going to have people that have struggles. And when you have struggles, we obviously try to overcome them and things like that. What do you see as like the main struggle or the main character flaw that holds people back from being successful in a door-to-door market?
The main thing is motivation. As far as character flaw goes, it's that self-confidence. Those are the 2 biggest killers in any door-to-door sales you're doing, whether it's roofing, solar, pest control, security systems. Those are the 2 biggest killers. Especially when you're first starting out, when you have that doubt yourself, can I do this job? Am I able to do this job? Because you see the numbers in the office of what the top people are doing, and you know your numbers are not even close to that number. So that self-doubt and everything sets in pretty quickly with it. And that's when the person in charge, the manager, the director, whatever the case may be, the team lead, that's where they shine. That's where it's their turn to step in, because sales is not for everyone in this world. You have to have that personality that you love to talk to people. If you were ever told as a kid, hey, shut up, mom and dad are talking, you're probably going to be great at this job. But if you're one of those people who are kind of more laid back and quiet and you enjoyed reading books inside the house, sales is going to be super scary for you. When you approach things to people like that, when they're going through that slump, let's say they do have that A-type personality, they're talking a lot, and they go through that slump, you got to make sure that you know their personality first. You got to make sure that you're talking to a person and not a category. Because if you think of canvassers and our sales reps, we're going to talk to them two different ways. Sales reps, it's, hey, you make a lot of money. You need to start working harder. Like, you need to start closing some more deals. Are you going through the steps? Are you helping these customers, showing them the product knowledge and the value of what we're selling them? Canvassers, it's a different story. They're signing up for this job to be rejected. They're signing up for this job to be told no. They're signing up for this job to go grind all day long for maybe 2 or 3 appointments a day. So understanding that mentality first and talking with your employees and learning what their motivation is, what their drive is key. One thing I do in training when I talk to everyone is I have each one of them write down why they would want to do a job that sends them out door to door, where people have no idea you're coming out to them, where people will get angry because you're interrupting their day. Why would you want to do this job? And I want them to write down what makes them want to do this. And then I want them to write down one of the biggest goals or dreams they have in their life, where they want to make a custom Ford GT, where they want to drive a big truck, where they want to buy a house, where they want to own a big yacht. Whatever that goal is, I want to have that. I want to know what that goal is for them. And I tell them, I want you to show me a picture of exactly what you want in life. I don't want you to paint me a picture in your mind. I want you to show me a picture of what it looks like that you are hoping for. And I want you to save that into your phone. And then when they get to those slumps and they're struggling and they're going through those hardships, the first thing I do is, hey, I want you to pull up that picture that you and I talked about in the beginning when you first started here. That's why you put it on the table here. We talk about what's going on. What are you hearing at the doors? What are the customers telling you? What's going on with your appointments after you send it into the girls in the office? Like, what's happening when the sales reps get there? Are we covering our bases first? Are you doing everything you can to make sure that you're successful? That's the number one goal. After that, we look at their numbers. This is where your numbers are. This is what your historic numbers are. Whether they're up or down, if they're up, that means they're trying way too hard what they're normally doing. If they're trying way too hard, that's when that desperation comes through. At that door, you're like, listen, guys, I'm really trying to help you. I really want to help you guys right now. I'm in there for a couple of days. But you're talking faster. You're going a lot smoother. You're not going through the steps like you normally would. And customers can sense that from you. So you got to make sure that you're going through your steps that you did in the beginning. Go back to those early stages of the job and continue to grow from there with it all. So it's kind of reverting back to their original state.
I like that, you are my best friend in the entire world. But I hired you for a specific reason, and for 2 reasons. One, you have a proven kind of general warm light, good energy that people tend to want to congregate around, and that's really important for someone who wants to bring on new people in the new hire vicinity. If your job is to hire people and get them interested in the job and get them involved, you want to have someone in that position that people generally want to be around. I mean, if you have someone that's not well liked, if you have someone who's not well respected, who's not funny, who's not gregarious, things like that, you want someone that can get people excited the way they're excited about whatever they do. So when you hire people, try to when you hire someone to hire people, make sure that they are one of the people that people tend to want to be around. So that's what you were, one. Okay, you've always been that. Since we've been hanging out, people just generally, followed you. You weren't probably ever the best in the restaurant field, but you weren't the least. And, but you had great qualities that people just were like, I want to do it like Jimmy does it, because that seems fun. That seems like a good time.
Pretty cool guy.
And then secondly, your main job at the phone sales, like you went to underperforming stores and your whole job was to raise them back up again to their historic numbers. And how you did that, I'll let you go in and kind of tell a little bit about. But like generally, like when you went into a phone sales store that was underperforming, with the same amount of people, they don't let you get rid of anybody. So what did you do with the existing talent that was there? Besides your out of a box ideas, I don't want those things. I want the things that you did there. Corporately, did you follow those things? New ideas, and then working with the people on a day-to-day basis, what did you kind of figure out from that last job?
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the biggest things is, that made me super successful, especially in the corporate world, was I went against the grain with everything corporate told me to do. I didn't believe that their mundane way of doing things was the right way. And it made me super successful in the cell phone world, where they would offer me raises every store I went to. Go help the store, go do this, go do this. But the biggest thing that you would notice when you go from store to store to store was that energy level. It's just that mundane, drawn, static energy. Everyone's there. Like, you need this Apple Watch. You need this $300 speaker. You need to buy this TV program. You need to do this. Everyone's talking just like that, because that's what the cell phone company preached. Follow all these steps and you'll be successful. And then I come in like a firework. I'm like, guys, you need to approach this as you yourself. Have fun with this. If you walk into a store and you went to Best Buy and you were looking at TVs, what's going to happen? One of those Best Buy associates are going to walk up and they're like grandma's dog. They're just humping your leg the whole time. They're not leaving you alone. You can't shoo them away because grandma's going to get mad at you. You're just sitting there and you don't want to look at TVs anymore. You're done. You don't look at the TVs. You don't want to talk to anybody anymore. You're just, I'm going to leave. Thank you. I'm done looking. I'll look online and see what I can find. And that energy level is what I want to disrupt a lot. I want to get out of that mind frame of cut and dry sales. It's not like that. Sales is never cut and dry. In sales, you have to be that chameleon. You got to adapt to the person you're talking to, whether it's grandma coming in because all her grandkids are on her cell phone plan, or whether it's a mom and dad who are barely scraping by and they have their 5 kids and they're playing with them, and all of them want their new cell phones because they're in high school. They got to look cool in front of all their friends. And you got to show them, hey, I understand you're coming here to spend money and you don't want to spend money. Let me make this a little bit enjoyable for you and show you what I can do for you while you're helping your kids. Let me show you what I can do for you. And so bringing that value and that energy into each store that I went into, of going in there and like, hey guys, what's up? Hey, I know you said your bill's high. Cool, let's look at your bill. You paying for this many people to have insurance on your plan. Did you know we have a group insurance that will cut $60 off your plan right now? You didn't know that? So you can upgrade yours, your son, and your daughter's phones, and your bill stays the same. You get brand new phones. And then the customer will leave super happy, super excited. They bought $200-$300 speakers from me. They were buying sound bars, iPads, tablets, everything from me like crazy. And I would just walk away after that. I'd go back to my office. And the sales reps, all the time, they would follow me. How did you do that? What did you just do? I said, you want to know what I just did? I met the customer at their level. You approach it like, hey, they're coming in here. That's a customer. That's an opportunity for you to make money. And they sense that, and so they hate you.
You got to give them experience.
You got to give them experience.
You got to give them an experience. If they come into your store, whatever your thing is, like for the people that work at, a retail store, you have to give them a reason to come back and not buy online. Because buying online, it couldn't be easier. It couldn't be more cut and dry. When I go to search for new TVs or a refrigerator, washer and dryer right now because my washer is broken and leaking all over my floor, I could walk into a store, an appliance store, with someone who gets paid commission. But my general feelings of every time I go in and do that kind of stuff is usually bad. It's usually not good. Because they don't know everything about every product, and they are, let me see what we got in stock, and then let's go show you that stuff. Whereas online, you can have so much more information, do it at your own pace and stuff like that. When we were in the restaurant business, every table was a new start for theater. I was a stand-up comedian. I was your maitre d'. I was your date assistant if you were on a date. I was your daycare assistant if you had kids. Whatever it was. You try to make an experience for someone that's pleasurable so they keep coming back and generally want to work with you. Like, I really hated corporate life as well when it was you must talk to this many people, go quote this many projects, do this. This is your spiel, and try to make it work. That's so defeating at the end of the day. Most people are so burnt out on that nowadays because there's so many choices. Before, you may only had one bank in your town, one appliance store in your town, one, insurance place to go to, one car lot, whatever. Nowadays, if it's not in your town, it's online, and you can do whatever you want, and you can buy from whoever you want to buy from. You have to have a good experience. I can't tell you enough that the story is true, that if they have a good experience, they're going to tell a couple people. If they have a bad experience, they're going to tell 10 people or more.
Yeah, I'll give you a perfect example. I went to Best Buy 2 weeks ago. So, as you know, I'm remodeling my kitchen right now.
Yeah.
And my wife is griping on me because we bought a brand new dishwasher last year. Our stove is fine, but our fridge is, from like the 80s.
It's old.
It's old.
It's old.
So she wants a new fridge. So I went to Best Buy, and so I looked at the fridges there, and I'm seeing like $3,000-$4,000 fridges, and I'm like, I'm not
they get up there. They have TV screens in fridges now.
Exactly. I'm trying to spend somewhere between $1,700 to $2,500 for a fridge. So I'm looking at these fridges. I'm trying to look at online of what the comparisons between these two fridges are. And this guy comes up and is like, "Oh, you like this fridge? Let me show you this other fridge over here." And it was $1,000 more. I'm like, "Hey man, this is my budget. This is what I'm looking for." It's like, "Hey, it's fine. We could put on your Best Buy credit card. If you don't have one, we can get you applying for one." He's trying to sell me the best thing. And, I got turned off right away.
Yeah.
And so I went online to bestbuy.com, and I looked at a couple different fridges on there.
Sometimes not even what they have in store.
No, and I found one that I love. I love this fridge that I just bought. It was originally $2,500. I got it for $1,700 after taxes. And it's perfect. It fits perfectly in my house. It fits perfectly in the range I need for height and width. It's exactly what I want. It makes the craft ice. So if I want to have an ice ball for my drinks when I'm at home, it make me an ice ball. And that's exactly what I wanted. And that experience right there, whether you're doing, refrigerator, appliance sales, cell phone sales, door to door, whatever it is, that experience that you give the customer, they all tie in together. All sales is an experience.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that, so with me, what I did with the cell phone sales is I got recognized on the national level because we took my store, which is Columbia City, Indiana. It's tiny. It's maybe 5,000 people live in the area. Me and my manager over there, we took that store to the #1 store in the nation. And they put us on the national circuit of all of the cell phone stores in the nation. And they asked us, what made your guys' store different than everybody else? How did you guys beat out New York City? How did you beat out LA? How did you beat out Texas? What did you guys do to achieve 400% of your goal than what everybody else is doing? And I said, listen, the main thing that we preached to all of our sales reps, the main thing that we preached to every single person in our company was, when they walk into our store, it's where great memories meet a great experience. That's the one thing we wanted with them. And so one of the biggest things was we all had Apple Watches. But no one's telling people what the benefits of an Apple Watch is. And so in 1 month's time, we sold 200 Apple Watches. And that little small town Columbia City, we sold 200 Apple Watches. We had people from LA, from New York, from Boston, from Florida, all emailing us. What are you guys doing? How are you selling this many Apple Watches? And what it is, when nurses would come in, when single moms would come in, when working parents would come in, their kids were getting off from school, it's the number one thing. Hey, I bet you're at work sometimes and your kids blow you up. And you're sitting there with your patient, with your customer, or at your job, and your boss standing over your shoulder, breathing on your neck, and you're wondering, like, is this emergency? Or is this them just saying, hey, I'm home, I'm okay? How easy it would be like, oh, we're good. They got home safely. And just look at your watch right away and go back to what you were doing. Or, oh, it's an emergency. I got to go. That peace of mind right there, would that not help you out in your day-to-day life? And you bring it to them right there. And that's what we associate right now into our roofing sales. Hey, I understand right now you haven't thought about your roof, right? No one thinks about the roof until something really bad happens.
Right.
And when something really bad happens, you're under the gun. You have to make a decision right then. The unfortunate thing with this business is you could spend $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 more than what you wanted to, but you're under the gun. You have to make that decision. And we tell all of our door-to-door people to tell them, hey, listen, we understand you might not be ready right now. We might understand you might not be thinking about your roof here soon. But if and when you do decide to do this, these are something in your back pocket. You keep every other company out there honest, and you can see we're trying to help you, not take advantage of you. And customers bite into it. Our number one guy, he listened to me during his training program. He bought into it hardcore, and he lives that lifestyle now. He was the type of person that would go out there every single day and talk to people just like that. Hey, I'm not here to sell you. I don't want you to buy my product. I'm here because you have an old roof. Your roof is leaking. It's lifting right now. You have a bunch of missing shingles. I can see you have a bunch of algae growth because of all the trees around your house. Whatever the case may be, I can see that. And I know the last thing you want to do is talk to a door-to-door guy about your roof. But I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm here to help you, because when the time comes, I'm pretty sure you'd be pretty upset if I helped your neighbor out and I could have saved you $5,000. Would you be upset about that? And 90% of the time, the answer is yes. And so the follow-up question to that is, great. Is an hour of your time worth a couple $1,000s in your pocket?
Right.
And they say yes right away. Boom. That's the experience. You showed value to that customer. You changed that energy. You changed the whole mood with those final closing questions with it all. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I brought from the cell phone world into this roofing game. Because sales is sales. You could be the most introvert person. If you ask the right questions, you have the right energy, and you can read that customer and meet them at their level, sales is the easiest thing in this world. You know, Jordan Belfort became a millionaire not because he's the smartest guy in the world, but he knew how to talk to people. In all of his interviews, I watched a lot of interviews with him, Grant Cardone, and the main thing they talk about is it's not because they were super smart in business. They know how to do sales. They knew how to talk to people. They've gone through the life of working 50, 60-hour work weeks. They've gone through the serving life. Grant Cardone, one of the things I learned from him was when he was serving, when everyone else around him was making $150, $200 a night in serving, this guy's making $500, $600 a night. And they asked him, what did you do? And he would never tell anybody. What he would do, he was like, hey guys, it's Friday, Saturday night. We're super busy. I would hate for me to ignore you guys or I get too tied up with another table. I would love to take your full order now. Let me get your drinks, appetizer, entree, and dessert now so I can make sure it comes out in a timely manner from you. Because when you go to a restaurant and you eat, You have your appetizer, you have a salad, you have a soup, you have your entree. But at the end of the meal, you're full. You don't want dessert anymore. But he pushed dessert on them because they already ordered dessert. Hey guys, here's that dessert you ordered. You can order it later tonight when you get home or tomorrow morning for breakfast, whatever you guys want. We tie it into sales. Hey, I understand right now you're not ready for this. You don't want this right now. But down the road, you're going to need us. And do you want this small mom and pop shop around here to take advantage of you? Do you want Tom, who says he watched a lot of YouTube videos, he knows how to do roofing? Do you want him to trust you? Do you want to trust him? What's going to happen when your roof leaks and Tom doesn't answer his phone? Who's footing the bill to fix everything? You are. We can offer you a warranty, and we guarantee everything with us. I have all my employees show up our Better Business Bureau, and we have this new thing that you have going on for us, the Project Map It, to show them all the customers that we helped out around there. So that's some of the biggest keys of changing the energy and the mentality of that door-to-door game into customizing it customer to customer to customer.
I like it. I mean, you've done a lot of different things, and it's benefited this industry hugely in our area. I mean, people look up to you in the area for, I can't tell you how many people have contacted me and was like, hey, can you train my canvassers? Hey, can you train?
I will.
Yeah. For a fee. We'll definitely do it. At the end of the day, it's kind of not repeatable in a certain sense.
Very true.
Because the magic is you. The magic is the manager. Those same people that weren't successful at other companies that come here and are successful. It's not just because we have better products. It's not just because we have a better roofing system. It's not just because we have better windows. It's because of the management team and the foundation that we built our company on. I mean, when I look at what we've accomplished in the last 6 years, it's absolutely astounding. And the whole reason we've done that is the people that we surround ourselves with hold themselves to a higher accountable level, and we just continue to grow every single year. If you don't have that in the beginning, if you don't have that good core people, it's going to be really hard to grow your business. I talk to a lot of my highfalutin friends, the high cotton people that I know in certain sectors, whether it's some kind of big rental business or construction or whatever. When they ask me, hey, Austin, you're killing it. How did you take it from $300,000 a year to $10 million? And I tell them, can you honestly go to bat for every single person at your company, or are you just supporting the most profitable people? They usually are we have a mix, and that's bad. You have to have people that you surround yourself with that bring you higher. You have to have people that make you feel like you've done a good thing by hiring them, because they're doing so many good things for your business. You're going to have, sometimes you're going to have people that bring you down, and you got to cut those people. Some of those people can't be saved. I know that I struggle with not cutting people when I should cut people, because I want to believe in the greater good, and that we could save them or whatever.
I think we all struggle with that, though. I think that's true with a lot of our employees and in any industry you're in. There's employees who give you a bunch of red flags to cut them and whatnot. But when you invested so much time and energy and money into someone, it's hard to cut those ties. Because what you're told behind closed doors and what you see on a day-to-day basis are two different things. In the real world, people put on masks.
Right.
People show you what they want to show you. But when it's just the two of you talking, that's when the honesty comes out. That's when X, Y, and Z comes out. And I think that's where you can see right through people's masks. And it's insane to me, because I wish I had that ability when I'm talking to someone, or one of my salespeople who, when they're going through a slump and they tell me X, Y, and Z is going on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Let me keep helping you. And it's just them trying to lead me on to keep getting money from the company.
Right.
But you are very good at reading through that and seeing and understanding people. And that's one huge thing that I envy from you. I envy that a lot. You know who to hold on to and when to let them go. So the fact that you're saying that it's hard for you to let people go, we had one employee, last month he messed up big time. We had to bail him out of the little trouble he was going through. And this past month, I see this employee doing everything possible, working in the factory when when they have a day off. He's in here working. He's helping out with something around here. He's doing everything he can just because that little bit that you did. If it was me in that situation, I would be like, listen, man, we're good. You just did this after I just started talking with you, and you just did this to me. We're good.
Well, let's kind of break that down. I like the... So there's a profitability to every single person at your company. You have to understand that there's a certain revenue amount that an employee has to hold up to, or it's just not feasible for a company to exist, right? If you have people that, like let's say you own a sandwich shop, and they're only bringing you revenue-wise, you get done with the end of the month, and they're doing, you have 5 employees, and they're doing $5,000 a month. That's probably not enough to cover your rent and your bills and your orders and things like that. And each person's worth $1,000 worth of revenue to you. That's not a high enough revenue to keep that business up. And I've done a lot of research into this to try to find that. Now you attribute a number to every single employee. You've made them a number now, which is tricky. So okay, we do $10 million a year. We have $70,000 employee. I mean, it's between 100 to 150,000 employee, depending. Where do you go from there? Is it good? Is it bad? Whatever. Then you got to go for the people that are really good, that produce and stuff. Then you got to look even deeper to what they're going through at that time. And when a lot of people give up on those people because stuff happens. Divorce happens. Kids get sick. Natural disasters. Whatever it is. Something happens in your life. And if you're not willing to work through that with the employee, if you can't see past the little kerfuffles that happen when, we have an employee here that has been with us almost since day one and having a lot of financial trouble, just bad spending money, and that takes his head off the ball, his eye on the ball, takes his eye off the ball, and he's been less successful than he has been recently, and most people would cut that person if they're a high cost to the employer, if they're whatever. But I found out through the years that if you reinvest into those people when they're down, when they're at their lowest and they're going through some real bad problems, let's say bankruptcy, let's say divorce, let's say whatever, if you can back them, if you know their heart, if you know who they are at a core level, and you can really rely on yourself to make that assumption that they are those people and not just dirtbags or whatever. If you're there when they're down, that's everything. That will be your number one employee at some point in your life. That'll be your person that you can count on when everything else is going awry, when everything else is not going great. If you can hold on to those people, and I just see it in so many of my competitors around the area, is that they go into slumps. Their employees go into slumps, and they try to come here, and I've just seen it so many times, and they just, I had one bad week and they fired me. Well, what happened? My dog died, or whatever. My mom got sick, I got hurt. I got a car accident, whatever the reason is, and they fired me. If you can back those people, the truly good people, I'm not just talking about backing everyone as a whole, but if you can find the people that you can really back during those times, that's huge. Like, that will be your dude that you can count on, because you were there when they need it the most. If you're that involved as a business owner or a manager, that speaks volumes about A, who you are, and two, what you're trying to accomplish in the lives of your employees. They will be your top dogs at some point. Maybe not right away, which is tough, because I've been questioned down a couple times, like, why do you keep this guy or girl around? You know, like, it seems like they've exhausted their usefulness to this company and things. I'm like, they're not done. I know they're not done. They got more. They're dealing with stuff. You know, a loose base case basis that you could say is like, when you were kidney failure,
that fun time.
not super useful
No.
for a year.
No.
Not super useful. On death's door.
Yeah.
Not super useful. But you did a good thing in your life by putting your faith right after you switched companies and things like that. You put your faith in a company that would have your back and supported you through that year plus of tribulations. Like, and that was huge. I knew that it would not only, like, that I have the means to, like, financially support whatever, but, like, you were going to come back tenfold as soon as you were healthy and really blow up, and really give something to the company and really teach those lessons that you learn during those trials and tribulations to make the company better. Like, I just knew that it was, a good investment. When people on their downturn, and it happens in sales, it happens in the corporate world, maybe you're a top lawyer, maybe you're a top doctor, maybe you're top whatever, and at some point it goes down for whatever reason, because life happens. Maybe you have a bunch of kids. We've had that in a couple situations with employees where people have kids and their focus shifts. I've tailored the company to work around such things that they can still maintain some kind of livelihood and stay at home with their kids and do that kind of stuff. And it's been hugely successful that those people can do their core things that they need to do to make this company run and still make a living. And I think that that's one of the fun parts about being a business owner is, like, you don't have to conform to corporate America. You don't have to stay in the lines of whatever you were taught. This is how we do it. This is how it's going to be. You can change it on a daily basis. If you have an employee that you think it's worth it, you can bend the rules. You can bend the reward system. You can bend the bonuses. You can bend the commissions. You can bend the salary. You can do whatever you want to do if you truly believe that's best for the company. And I think that's super cool. Like, that's one of my favorite parts about doing this is, like, we don't have to conform. Just like you gave $100 out of your own paycheck and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to do any of that stuff. You can if you want to. And I mean, we bought houses for people, cars.
Yep.
I mean, we have 27 vehicles. We rent 6 or 7 of them out on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, for sure. If they have car problems, if they have, we have office lady it's her third total vehicle, and like 6 months to a year, it's her third total vehicle. And when insurance stopped paying for rental cars for $100 a day, I rent a car for $100 a week. That's super cool. And I like doing that kind of stuff that makes their life easier, and it doesn't hurt the company at all. Like, we're here for the employees. Now, when we talk about our employees' livelihoods, do you ever give them financial advice? Do you ever talk to them? I mean, like they've living paycheck to paycheck or whatever you want to call it. Do you ever give your salespeople or commission people or whatever, do you ever give them advice on how to manage money?
I do, especially when they come from a job that paid them, like, let's say they worked at Pizza Hut, McDonald's, Papa John's, whatever the case may be, and they come from a job paying them, $300-400 a week, and they're coming to our company making $700 to $1,000 a week. It's very easy to be like, oh, I could afford that PS5. I can buy that 70-inch TV. I can do X, Y, and Z with all this money that I have. And then the following week, they could fall flat in their face and make a $300 paycheck. So one of the biggest things I do with each of my employees who are receptive of it, not some people like to keep their stuff private. The receptive ones, though, I sit down with them and I ask them every one of their bills. They tell me, oh, my cell phone bill is $89 a month. I put $100 down. And I go down, I'm like, listen, your max bills are $2,000 a month. So after taxes, you need to make $500 a week to support yourself. Is that what your goal is? $500 a week? They're like, no, I want to be able to go out with my friends. I want to be able to go to the movies. I want to go buy a boat. I want to buy a house. I want to go on vacation. Whatever the case may be. Cool. What does vacation look like to you? Is it going to Hocking Hills in Ohio? Is it going to Florida for a week? Is it going to Texas to see your family? Is it going out in the wilderness somewhere in Arkansas and go hunting pheasants and turkeys? Whatever the case may be, I want to know what that looks like to them. And from there, I'm like, cool. So that's your goal, is to do that. To achieve that goal, you need to make X amount of money per week. To achieve that, this is what you have to do every single week. So I break it down on a weekly basis for them, all with the rule of 50 for sales. But I break it down for them. I put it on my iPad, and I tell them, take a picture of this. So when you know at the end of the week, did you achieve this goal? You didn't? Cool. Why didn't you achieve that goal? Did you do what we talked about in our first meeting? Did you work that hard, but you didn't achieve the goals? So what happened? Why did you not achieve your goals? Were your side steps with the customers not there? Did you not pick the right territory to go to? Did you not knock the right houses? Were you there at the wrong time? What was the step that blocked you from achieving your goal? And what are you going to do to achieve it in the future? So I have 5 employees right now that I talk to about their finances and their goals. One of them, she loves going to Texas every single year. She is in her 50s. She has 3 kids, all in their 30s. All of them still go to her like they're 15, 16 years old. So she has to support them still in her 50s, on top of trying to support herself, on top of trying to go on vacation to see her family in Texas. So I tell her, I'm like, listen, that's fine. You could do what you want. You want to support your kids in their 30s? That's fine. This is what you have to do every single week, though. If you want to achieve your goals of retiring in the next 5 years, because every year she says, this is my last year, I'm going to retire. Yeah. And she just keeps going because she can't live without money. She has a lifestyle she wants to live. And so I asked her, I'm like, what did you do? And today was a great example of it. She had an appointment that she set, and we have a rule of 8 windows. And the customer that she set only wanted 7 windows for the house and 1 for their garage. But on the phone call, the guy says, I only want 7 windows. The garage, I'm going to buy the cheapest window possible because I don't care about that garage. And I asked her, I said, here you go. This is what the customer said. If you want, tomorrow we sit down, I'll play the phone call for you. She's like, no, I know he would say that. She's like, but I think we should still run that lead because it's going to be a sale. I go, I understand you think it's going to be a sale. I said, but does that follow what the company wants to do? She said, no. I said, okay. Do you think those little 7 windows are going to support you with what you want to do in life? And she says, no. I said, okay. So you're chasing this dead lead for you to hit your goals when you know in this 30 minutes we've been talking, you could have hit 6 or 7 more houses, maybe got 2 more appointments. And she says, damn it, Jimmy, I hate when you are right. I hate when you prove me wrong with my own words. I said, I'm just doing what you told me you want me to do. So you right there, you're showing me that your goal of what you want to accomplish financially per week for the year. You could have done a lot more today alone in this last half hour to achieve your goals. And she says, yes. I go, great. So what do you need from me then? She's like, this phone call helped me all I needed. Thank you. Bye. And she went out and got 3 more appointments. In the hour and a half she had left, she wrote 3 more appointments. 2 of them got on the board for tomorrow, and 1's for Friday already. All confirmed, ready to go for the sales reps to go with it all.
Let's talk about your goals. Let's talk about, I can talk about my goals after you talk about your goals, but like, what's your financial goals? You know, let's go like a 5-year goal. Like, what's your 5-year goal? We're going to cement it in podcast history on what Jimmy wants to do with 5-year goals, and then we'll replay this episode 5 years from now and be like, did he make his goals? We'll do the same thing he just did to one of his employees. We'll do to him right now. If he doesn't live up to that, you guys hold him accountable.
So that's I can answer it. It'd be hard for me to answer it just because I'm that type of person who I'm never happy of where I'm at. I always believe I can do better than where I'm at. If you asked me 15 years ago when I was living in an apartment, 1,000 square foot apartment, what I wanted, I said, I want a 2,000 square foot. I want to have a house though. I want to have a house with a backyard my kids can play in. When I have that with a pool, I'm upgrading my kitchen right now. But right now, if you ask me right now, gun to my head, for my family and I, my goal, 5 years, is for my wife and I to custom build our house on a property of land that's not huge. We want 5-6 acres, somewhere where our kids can play their sports in the backyard and not worry about our neighbors. Somewhere where we don't have to worry about if the kids hit a real baseball, they hit someone's house and stuff like that. That's my goal. I want to have something 5, 6, 10 acres where my kids can have fun and enjoy their real life. I want to, because I have 2 kids. I have 3 kids. One does baseball, one does travel soccer, and they do that stuff all the time. They are constantly practicing it. And my neighbors get upset with us right now. We live in a cul-de-sac. My neighbors get mad because they have 5, 6 soccer balls in their backyard. They have 30 different of the foam baseballs in their backyard, and they get mad at me. They send me text messages all the time. Tell your kids to come get your stuff from my yard. All that kind of stuff. So that is right now, my 5-year goal is for my wife and I to get the house that we've always dreamed of since we were in high school. We met our freshman year in high school, and our biggest dream was to have a house where we have our own bedroom, we have our own living room, we have our own little, like, quote-unquote kitchenette in our bedroom, and a walkout patio from our bedroom. That's my biggest goal to have, is to give that to my wife in the next 5 years. I want to give my wife that. I don't care if it's a 1-story or 2-story. I don't care. I want a basement for sure, but that's what I want. I want to give my wife that life that I've promised her since 2001. And that's my goal in the next 5 years, is to do everything possible with my job, with her job, with our savings, is to accomplish that. That is my goal, what I want to do.
I like it. I'm not sure if you're interested in my goals at all.
You're my best friend. I care about everything about you. Your goals are my goals for you.
My goals aren't conventional, right? So like, it's a different thing. I already have more than I could ever dream that I wanted. I've been super lucky in life, super lucky in friendships, super lucky in family, super lucky in business. And so when people ask me, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, I mean, no debts for the company. Want to keep that up. That'd be great. I'd like to see everyone doing better. So if that's marginal, if that's 10, 20% better, I'll take it. Across the board, all my employees doing 10, 20% better. I want to grow their lives. I want to grow the company so that their lives can get better. I want to grow so that our customers can receive better stuff. I want to become more efficient. I want to see my kid go to private school. That's a huge thing. With his issues and stuff like that, I want to see him go to a private school where he can get attention that he deserves and become smart, unlike his dad. I want to see that happen. So my stuff is really like take care of the garden, I'll take care of you sort of deal. Like, I want to make sure we bolster everything with the company so the company can take care of us. We've been super fortunate over the last 5-6 years that we've seen, tremendous growth. And I want to keep that up because I think that growth is good. I think that if you remain stagnant, that it's bad. Like you've always said, you've never been happy with what you have currently. You always want more. I think that's the American dream. But I don't think that I'll be satisfied ever because it's every year has to be better. Every year has to be more. Every year has to be more efficient, maybe more green, maybe more profitable. I just want to be better every single year. I want to make sure that all my employees drive nice cars, they have nice homes, they can take care of their families, and it's somewhere they could see themselves staying at long term.
Mm-hmm.
That's my goal.
I want to clarify. I'm not saying I'm not appreciative of what I have.
Right.
Every day, when I walk into my house and my wife and kids are happy, open my fridge, there's a bunch of food. I mean, look at me. There's a lot of food in my fridge.
Look at us.
There's my house is, it's under construction right now, so it's not the best house ever. But we have a decent house. And, if 15, 16 years ago you had told me I had the life I live now, I would never have believed you. You talked about having your son go to private school. I am very, very lucky to say that one of my kids do go to private school just because he's so smart. He's kind of forced to go to those private schools. And, with your assistance, he is able to achieve those goals. So there's not one day that passes that I am not super thankful for literally everything that I have achieved or you have helped me to achieve. It just being okay with where you're at and being stagnant in life, it's not the place you want to be. If you're ever okay being a millionaire or making 6 figures a year, why are you happy just doing the bare minimum to get there? If you can work a little harder, why not do it? I listen to podcasts a lot, and this one guy was talking about he makes $600,000 a year. And he says, everyone asks him, what's the number one thing you do? And he says, when I wake up in the morning, do you think I'm sitting there on my phone playing games, watching TV, or just relaxing? He's like, I'm researching whatever the hell I'm working in. I'm trying to do the best I can do every single day. If I didn't learn something new that day about my industry, if I didn't learn something new about my employees, if I didn't do something that made me grow as a human being, I failed that day. Mm-hmm. And I heard that podcast 2 years ago. And that has resonated with me ever since then. And I will never forget that phrase from him. This guy, he talks about his son was shot when he was 22 years old. His kid was shot and killed, and he could have gave up in life. He could have gave up. Life screwed him over. It sucked. And now he's making over $600,000 a year, giving motivational speeches, and owning 3 different companies. And he said his goal in the next 10 years is to have a circuit of motivational speakers going around helping everyone, because his small reach of himself cannot help everyone that he wants to help. So he wants to help coach and train the people to get to where he's at, some fraction of where he's at, to get there to help every single person. He can touch someone's life. If he can help one person a day, he knows he was successful that day.
I like that.
And so that's where I'm at with my life right now.
I like that. Finishing things up, if you would like us to talk about anything else in your industry, I mean, we're pretty well versed in some different industries and stuff. If you guys want us to talk about anything in particular, please reach out on any of the platforms that you see this. Like our Facebook. Again, we are sponsored by Perfect Seal Solutions until we get better sponsors. Just because we own a roofing and window and gutter soft fascia company, But we'll get into some more semantics as we have more people on. I think that the next coming episodes are going to be more derivative towards the basics of what we do, showing the benefits of metal roofing, showing the benefits of our window systems, the different ins and outs of all the gutter systems that we do. For our customers, we want to show how things are going to go. We want to show how the factory and stuff is made. All the products that we offer is made in-house except for the windows. We really want to get into more of that stuff. These first episodes are just getting stuff ready to go and getting a good baseline for our podcast and honestly getting better at it. I mean, we have never done podcasting before. We're not podcasting people by any rate. We've never been on the news. We've never held, public speaking jobs at all. So you're going to have to give us a little bit of lenience is that as we get better, I will put more stuff on the TV and we will talk more about the ins and outs of the industry and get you product knowledge and get you more tidbits on what's important in the roofing industry, in the gutter industry, all that kind of good stuff. So again, if you'd like any more knowledge, please reach out and talk to us. I'll put that on the podcast the next time. Here pretty soon we'll speak to more salespeople, more canvassers, and hopefully a few office people. So Jimmy, thanks for rounding out this podcast.
Thank you, buddy.